Charles, how you doing? Good night to you. Ex-Inspector Agdoma, I'd like to say good night to you all. And whilst we await the light, okay, I was told that the stream is up now, so let me just check it out. Okay, here we go. So we're live on Choice TV, and we're also live on the Choice Media Network platform. So you could go on Facebook and you could check it out there. If you're having issues in TV land, just go on Facebook, Choice TV, Choice Media Network, and we're live there. I'd like to say good night also to my brother. Oh, that's not my brother, that's her brother. She's saying good night to her brother, Jason Kazaba. He's already tuned in and he's watching on his phone. Good night, Jason. Thank you for tuning in to Police Insight. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a very informative show. Very, very informative. You know, this show always seeks to educate you, especially on policing matters and policing operations. I'd like to say good night to former Police Commissioner, Mr. Irvin Mesmain. Good night to you, sir. So before I introduce my guest, just, as usual, a few housekeeping matters, and we also have our feature in our segment called the Know Your Laws. I think I'll do that now, because whilst we start ensuring that the little technical difficulties are out of the way. So let us do tonight's Know Your Laws. Are you ready, producer? Okay, here we go. It's harboring or aiding criminals. And that's section 402 of the Criminal Code of St. Lucia. A person who, knowing or having reason to believe that another person has committed or has been convicted of any crime, aids, conceals, or harbors that person with the intention of enabling him or her to avoid lawful arrest or the execution of his or her sentence or to escape punishment, is liable, A, if the crime is punishable with death or with imprisonment for 14 years or more, to imprisonment for 7 years on conviction and indictment, B, if the crime is an indictable offense other than that referred to in paragraph A, to imprisonment for 5 years on conviction and indictment, and C, if the crime is a summary offense, to a fine of $1,000 on summary conviction, unless the court is of the opinion that in the circumstances there should be no conviction or punishment owing to the trivial nature of the offense or other sufficient reason. Yeah, so if you take anything out of that is do not harbor or aid someone who has committed an offense. You'll be in a lot of trouble once you're able to prove that you have done such act. Let me just tune in there right now to the Facebook chat. Say good night to Victor C. Anthony from Brooklyn as usual. Good night to you, Barbara Labadie. Burke, how you doing? Good night. Candida Daniel. Yes, Mon Cherie, Rosemary Panfield. The usuals, always there supporting the show. Sunshine King, good night to you. Arlette Richards, I'd like to say good night to you. Woman Special Reserve Police Officer Beverly James of the Northern Division Department, good night to you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who watched this show last Tuesday, we had members of the Vulnerable Persons team, and there's something that we forgot to inform you, and that is the contact number for VPT, the Vulnerable Persons Team, and that is 456-4050, 456-4050, also 456-4051, 456-4051. And later on, when the show is ending, I'll also repeat, especially for those who will be tuning in late. What has been happening, we've had our latest homicide, and that takes us to the number of 65. We've recorded 65 homicides thus far for the year 2021. And according to reports, it was 23-year-old Jonathan Sonson who sustained gunshot wounds sometime this morning in Ravin Shabbat. And it continues, the senseless killing continues. And every time I think of it, it just brings me to a place where I don't want to be. So we gotta do what we gotta do with whatever we have to stem the tide of this criminal activity that has gripped the island. So we gotta do what we gotta do. I'd like to say good night to Onella Joseph. Good night to you. Who else is there? Kevin Knight. Yes, it's actually 65. It is 65, ladies and gentlemen. It is 65, according to the information I received this evening. It's actually 65. I'd like to say congratulations to the government and people of Barbados on their historic transition in becoming a republic, severing its last colonial bonds. And some would say, what is a republic? Well, it's actually a state in which the supreme power is held by the people and their elected representatives, and which has an elected or nominated president rather than a monarch. So once again, congratulations to the people of Barbados. How well this move is going to be, how advantageous or not advantageous, only time will tell. And already discussions are already being had in St. Lucia about we possibly doing the same thing, but that'll be up to the people. Also, the abortion debate has once again been revived among our citizenry, as there's a discovery of a fetus in a particular school on the island, and that discovery was made yesterday. And just for your information, I also wish to just read out the law that speaks to such an act, and that would be section 175 of the Criminal Code of St. Lucia, which speaks to that of concealment of birth, existence, or death of a child. So I'll read that out to you. And it says, any person who conceals the body, let me just put that a little closer there. Any person who conceals the body of a child, whether such child was born alive or not, with intent to conceal the fact of its birth, existence, or death, or the manner or cause of its death, is liable on conviction on indictment to imprisonment for 5 years. And subsection 2 says, the provisions of subsection 1 shall not apply, A, in the case of a fetus less than 6 months. Interesting. B, to the case of an intent to conceal the birth, existence, or death of a child, or the manner or cause of the death from any particular person or persons only. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is for another show, whole heap of another show. But I just wanted to share that with you in terms of what the section says, concealment of birth. Okay, so we are going to take our very first break, and when we come back, I shall introduce my guest. It's going to be very informative. Stay tuned to Police Insight.
The St. Lucia National Housing Corporation invites tenants, residential and commercial, to participate in the Castries Housing Estate and Darling Road Housing Estate, affectionately known as the CDC Rent Reprieve, a Government of St. Lucia initiative to bring relief to the people. Conditions for the reprieve. All tenants must pay October and November 2021 rent. No rent is payable in December 2021. Outstanding debt will be forgiven. New leases will be drawn up in January 2022. October and November 2021 rent must be paid at the NHC headquarters in the Morgan Building, Morris Mason Avenue and Lance Road, Sanssouci, no later than October 30th, 2021. Be sure to keep the stamped copy of your receipt. For further information, call the NHC at 452-3801 or email nhc@candw.lc.
As variants of COVID-19 continue to evolve, Lewis Industries Limited remains resolute in offering the best cleaning solutions recommended by EPA to reduce the spread of the virus. our disinfectants, EnviroCare and Conquer Byram, which are highly recommended to sanitize, disinfect, and deep clean surroundings, will ensure you operate in a safe and healthy environment. With over 3 decades of experience in cleaning and consultancy services, we guarantee you trusted products and quality service. Call us at 450-4060. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or our website at www.lewisindustrieslimited.com.
Make Paints Plus your one-stop paint shop this holiday season. With unbelievable everyday low prices store-wide, we will not be undersold. So for all your decorative and automotive paints and accessories, make the smart choice and check Paints Plus first. Quality products and service at the best prices, plus best value for your money equals best savings in your pocket. Spend $200 and get a chance to win daily prizes, huge discounts, hams, turkeys, food hampers, liquor hampers, wines, and weekly cash prizes of $500 in our popular Paints Plus Pop the Balloon Christmas promotion. Happy holidays from your team at Paints Plus.
Paints Plus! One name that leads. Paints Plus! For all your painting needs.
Welcome back to Police Insight. Your host here, acting inspector. Never be what I almost said. Acting Inspector Zachary Hippolyte of the Royal Central Police Force. Good night, Kedron C. Gustav. Sergeant Small, SSU. How are you guys doing? Good night to you. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest. And as soon as I introduce him, he will tell us a little bit about himself. But tonight to speak about crime scenes. It's important because, you know, most of the time when we hear about investigations, homicide investigations, serious crime investigations, in our minds, we're thinking of investigators running after suspects or, you know, or interrogating suspects and stuff like that. But there is a unit that is so important in the aspect of crime fighting, and that is the crime scenes of crime office or scenes of crime unit. Or you can say scenes of crime department, scenes of crime, office, and representing the scenes of crime office of the Northern Division tonight is none other than Sgt Irvin Mesmain. How are you doing, Sergeant? How's everything?
Good, Inspector Hippolyte.
Yes.
Good evening to you. Good evening to your viewers. Good evening to our fellow police officers watching both on Facebook, those at work tonight and at their homes. I would like to say a special good evening to them.
Thank you, Sergeant, for gracing us with your presence. Could you tell St. Lucia and those watching abroad a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I am Sergeant number 635, Irvin Mesmain. I'm attached to the Scenes of Crime Office. I've been attached to this unit for the past I've been a police officer for the past 22 years.
22 years,
yes.
Yeah.
And I've been attached to the Scenes of Crime Office for the past 19 years since the unit was established in 2002.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No wonder you're in charge. So we're talking about a wealth of experience in
yes.
crime scene investigation right
yes,
here. Excellent. So people, this is where you tell a friend to tell a friend to tune in, because we're about to have a very informative discussion on crime scenes. How many scenes of crime scenes of crime offices are there within the force?
Currently, there are 2 offices. We have one office in the Southern Division of the police force, stationed at Viewford Police Station. And the other unit is in Castres at police headquarters, where I work.
Okay, excellent. And are there any vacancies currently, just in case if there are young police officers who are wondering, man, I wouldn't mind being a crime scene investigator. Are there any vacancies existing within the RSLPF? And if you were to apply, what should one do?
As the sergeant at the unit, I can see that there's a need for manpower at the unit. There is a need for manpower. Given the volume of work and the nature of our duties, I mean, crime scene investigation, you should know what it is. Yeah. So,
especially these days.
These days, yeah. So there's a
Yeah.
need for additional manpower. Okay. Persons interested, well, police officers who are interested in joining the unit can simply apply to the Assistant Commissioner of Police with responsibility for crime management.
Okay.
Those persons will be vetted as always. They can submit the copies of the recent appraisals.
Yes, by all means.
All means, that is important.
Very important.
Yeah. So
Yes.
and the successful candidates will be considered.
All right, excellent. So, officers, especially those with that keen interest, send an application to the ACP in charge of crime, and let's see how successful you are. But with all the work that's going on, man, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm okay. I just feel sorry for the sergeant sometimes. I see him on scenes a lot of times, and up to this morning, going through the traffic, heading to a scene. Which units or departments, Sergeant, would request the assistance of the Scenes of Crime Office?
Well, at the Scenes of Crime Office, we assist almost every unit within the Royal Central Police Force. We assist all the police stations around the island because they're into investigations.
Yes.
We assist all the investigative department, including the major crimes unit, criminal investigation department, vulnerable persons team,
Wow. I see.
drug unit, the traffic unit,
Everybody.
almost everybody.
Almost
Once you're into investigation.
Yes.
However, we also work in collaboration with government agencies, other government agencies,
Interesting. I didn't
and
know
other
that.
law enforcement agencies, including the customs. We assist them at times. We work with the forensic lab, criminal records office, the mortuary, to name a few.
And I could, how do you guys operate in terms of working hours? Because homicides and fatal accidents happen anytime. How do you guys deal with that? How do you work?
Well, we operate on a 24-hour shift,
My goodness.
24 hours a day. We have 2 shifts. We work from coming at 8 in the morning. One shift would work until 6 p.m. Another shift comes in at 6 and knock off at 8 in the morning.
And not
the
about
following
8
day.
in the morning. Okay, excellent. So let me tell you something, people. That this is the life of the police, you know. Okay, and you know, there is no, sometimes you would hear, you know, there's usually sometimes a little rivalry between the departments, but no matter what it is, no matter how some would say, oh, this is what you do and this is what I do, I sleep less, we all need each other. The Royal Central Police Force is supposed to be a well-oiled machine, and we all need each other. So, Sergeant, tell me, what are the responsibilities of the Scenes of Crime officer?
Okay, at the unit, our duties include but not limited to attending to and documenting crime scenes and dealing with serious vehicular collisions.
Ah, I see.
When I say documenting crime scene, I mean taking notes, photographs, measurement. We also do crime scene searches. We package and secure evidence. We preserve them. And we also give evidence in court too.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So I'm sure in your experience, Sergeant, the amount of times you've had where, okay, I've got caught 9 o'clock in the morning, but 3 a.m., 4 a.m. you're on the scene. Am I correct?
That is correct, Mr. Hippolyte. You're at work sometimes, you know. By the time you try to get yourself ready for court, a report comes in, you have to deal with the report, call the prosecutor, make arrangement probably for an adjournment, or maybe you're late for court, and then that's the nature of the job.
But Sergeant, you look like someone that enjoy what you do.
Yes, Mr. Hippolyte, given the number of years, I think that speaks for itself. 19 years into it. If I didn't like it, I guess I would have been out by now.
You'd have been out by now.
I do enjoy it.
Define a crime scene. And also after doing that, can you also give, well, there are actually types of crime scenes. So let's start with definition first.
Okay, a crime scene, I would say, is any area where an illegal act has taken place and evidence is expected to be found. Okay, so there are types of scenes. In crime scene investigations, there's what we call a primary scene, there's what we call a secondary scene, and sometimes tertiary scene. I can give an example of this.
Please do.
Yeah. Say, for instance, something happened in studio here, right? There's a homicide. Someone, gets shot and whatnot. Take the body, you drop the body at Dayglow. The incident is at studio.
At studio,
The body
yes.
is at Dayglow.
Yes,
Here becomes the primary scene. This is where the offense has taken place.
I see.
We will get evidence here. Dayglow is what we call a secondary scene. The body is there. That body has to go to the mortuary. So the mortuary now becomes a tertiary scene.
That's interesting.
Because the body
okay.
itself is a scene.
It's a scene on its
Yeah,
own.
it's a scene.
I see. Interesting. That's something. And I knew about the primary and the secondary,
Yeah,
but the tertiary
yeah.
totally blew my mind. Let me tell you, Sergeant, how could, in terms of processing the scene, is there, what is the longest scene in your experience in terms of time frame that you've ever processed?
This varies, Mr. Hippolyte. There are times when we have to lock off a scene, especially if it's indoors. We have to lock off this house, and it might take a week or sometimes more, depending on the offense, the activities that have taken place. Sometimes it takes you to another location, like I remember secondary scene and tertiary scene. Sometimes you have all of this to work with.
Interesting.
So it varies.
And it varies.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Now, in terms of crime scene investigation, there's someone that could be dubbed or termed as first responder. Who is a first responder, Sergeant?
Okay, Inspector. The term first responder is a bit broad because it could mean different things to different agencies and things. But in criminal investigation, we refer to the first responder as to the first police officer to respond to that incident. Okay?
Right.
That
First police officer.
Yeah, that police officer could be an officer at any rank, or it could be one who is attached to any unit within the Royal Central Police Force. Okay, so the rank doesn't matter.
The rank doesn't matter.
Yeah,
So
you become the
inspector
first.
arrives there, he
Yeah.
is the first responder.
You could be on your way home,
On
something
my own.
happened, you have to stop and
Okay.
attend to it. You're the first responder.
But can a citizen be dubbed the first responder?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a fire officer considered first responders at time. But in criminal investigation, when we talk police talking to police, first responder,
Yes.
we refer to another police officer.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right. Now we're going to take another break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, and that is important, the next question will be, what are the responsibilities of a first responder? Because as you know, in our communities, sometimes or most times, the first individual on the scene is not a medical professional or police officer. It's a citizen. And we're going to discuss if what you're doing in the scene could have some issues or impact into what Sgt Mesmain and his team could gather. Stay tuned to Police Insight.
Celebrate the season with a Christmas loan from the Royal St. Lucia Police and Allied Services Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Get up to $10,000 with no deposit necessary and quick 24 hours processing time. That's $10,000 just in time for the Christmas season. So ring in the holidays with a Christmas loan from the Royal St. Lucia Police and Allied Services Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Call or visit us today. Terms and conditions apply. Promotion ends December 31st, 2021.
Gonna be rich. The Super 6 jackpot is now $500,000. Yes, you heard right. Gonna be rich. $500,000 could be yours. What are you waiting for? Get your tickets now. You're gonna be rich.
Lucelec customers whose accounts are in arrears are encouraged to call or send a WhatsApp message to our credit control section at 728-9752, 728-9754, 728-9755, or 728-9756 to make payment arrangements to settle your arrears. For bill balances, call our automated account inquiry service at 457-4433 and follow the prompts. Use myaccount.lucelec.com to obtain detailed account information and make online bill payments directly to Lucelect via debit or credit card or through your bank. Select the option to receive monthly bills via email. Customers can also pay bills through Shopee's online or walk-in service.
For the first time ever in St. Lucia, the Monopole Cooperative Credit Union offers loans to purchase the vehicle of your dreams, regardless of the age. We also provide full comprehensive insurance coverage for vehicles up to 15 years. Our interest rates start at 6.5% with only 10% deposit required. So feel free, dream, test drive, select. We're here to provide the finance and insurance to get you on the road regardless of the age. Monopole Cooperative Credit Union. Our people, our community, our credit union. Telephone 455-3370.
Welcome back to Police Insight. Your host here, Acting Inspector Zachary Hippolyte. And in studio with me is the sergeant in charge of the crime scene. Did I say that perfectly this time? Scenes of crime. I don't know why I keep saying crime scene, but it's scenes of crime. I guess you know already. Now, maybe it's that television thing that we will talk about later. But scenes of crime office, Sgt Irvin Mesmain. And we were talking about before the break who is a first responder, and he stated that it could be a police officer, fire officer, or anybody who has arrived in the scene first. I'd like to say good night to Dr. Merle Clark, who's tuned in, and she said good night to you, Sergeant. She spoke of you being an excellent and a professional and a dog lover.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. Thank you. Good evening to you and the rest of the family.
Yes, and without straying a bit, Sergeant, did you see that viral video of a citizen mercilessly beating a dog with a cutlass? Did you see that video?
I saw it, Inspector Hippolyte, but to me, there was something about it was, to me, more comedy.
That's what you thought
at first sight.
At first, yeah. I was upset. And I don't think I'm a dog lover as much as you, but I was upset, Sergeant.
To me, what caught my attention was the words in it, like, you know, what the clothes and what talking to a dog and whatnot. Yeah. You know, so I find it funny.
You find it funny.
But the woman's action at the time, to me, come on.
Yeah, most definitely. And before I continue the interview, I'd like to say to you or whoever you are or anybody else out there, you need to understand that there are laws that protect animals in St. Lucia. There are laws, and maybe we don't enforce them enough, but there are laws, and animals, their spirits, I mean a dog, usually what is dubbed as man's best friend, to treat an animal like that. And the individual who was recording, you're just as culpable. Although thank you for recording so that we could see what's happening, but you never made an attempt to stop the individual. You know, I don't love that at all. You know, they're human beings. We human beings do more to hurt the earth, cause problems for our environment. We do all type of nonsense. We litter, we hit each other, we kill each other, we do how much crazy things. And all animals do, they are going on instinct, the instinct given to them by the Creator. You know, the Almighty put us, I'm sorry for going on that a little bit, it just pissed me off. The Almighty gave us dominion over animals by giving us intelligence. And yet the animals are following the instructions of the Almighty better than us by doing what they're supposed to do. You know, and then for this individual to beat that dog over what clothes. Let me tell you something. What you should do, hang your clothes higher. All right? Put your clothes up higher. But don't ill-treat the dog for pulling your clothing. And if I had my way, you would be arrested and charged for animal cruelty. I'm so serious about that. Yes, so I wanted to get that off my chest. And Dr. Merle Clark, you have to blame yourself, for that, because you're the one who brought up that the sergeant is a dog lover, and it just came to my mind, Sergeant. So I had to speak on that. Responsibilities of a first responder, Sergeant. Educate the public on that.
Okay, Inspector Hippolyte. Those responsibility will vary depending on who this officer is. Okay? But however, this person, this first responder, has a responsibility to carry out a risk assessment. You have to make sure that the scene is safe, that location is safe before you enter. Okay? The person also has a responsibility to inform the relevant authorities. You have to place a call.
Place a call.
Yeah. Call the CID, you call the Special Services Unit, you have to call the relevant authorities. You could either call fire service, depending on the situation you're dealing with.
Yeah, and we need to remind them that 999 and 911 are free calls.
Free calls.
Sometimes we forget that, huh?
Yeah. So they also have a responsibility, especially if it's a police officer, to take charge of the scene.
And
especially,
how does that happen?
Especially if it's a homicide scene, you need to try your best at all times. You know, there must be an attempt to preserve life and property. So if someone has been injured, you need to place a call for the ambulance or, you know, family members to get medical attention. You need to cordon off. Well, sometimes you, as a first responder, it will be rough on you.
It will be difficult.
Difficult.
Yeah, you have family members who are upset, who are crying
and whatnot.
And all they want to do is go and touch the body.
Yeah, and like I was saying, it all depends on who's that first responder. If it's a team from CID, they'll be equipped with the cordon off tape and whatnot. Sometimes SSU, they are equipped with, you know, the equipment, and then they'll take charge of the scene, secure it, preserve evidence until the arrival of investigators. They will also identify perpetrators, interview witnesses, you know, and then assist the crime scene officer in providing security.
I see. Can you let us now speak to that of scene contamination? And now we spoke of the responsibility of the first responder. Let's speak about scene contamination. How can that happen? What should the public be wary of? Especially, well, we know those who are affected and impacted by seeing a loved one laying on the ground motionless. Sometimes we know that, but especially other individuals who would not be so impacted. Let's talk about scene contamination.
Okay.
Sergeant.
Scene contamination, in simple terms, is the addition of unwanted material or particles onto a scene which could compromise the integrity of that crime scene. Okay? Someone stepping on a crime scene, they already introducing foreign articles to the scene. So it's already tampering with it. That alone is a contamination.
Just stepping onto the scene.
Stepping, you bring in some foreign articles on this. Person talking on a crime scene, smoking, eating, all of this could lead to contamination.
And that could make your job a little more difficult.
Of course, investigative, process could be more challenging, because sometimes what we look for might just be that of a spectator instead of that of a perpetrator.
I see. How about in terms of we professionals? Do we sometimes contribute?
All the time, Inspector, all the time. Because you see, it's a matter of curiosity. Curiosity. So you have members of the public who are curious. Police officers, that's just human nature. Something has happened, persons want to know who the victim is, what has happened and whatnot. And in so doing, they will contaminate the scene. There's no such thing as a perfect scene.
I see. I see. And I remember once, ladies and gentlemen, I was a young constable. I'm still young. But I was a young constable, and there was this homicide in Wavin Makok. I could never forget that, Sergeant. It was a domestic dispute gone bad, and the perpetrator, he tried to also end his life. Yes, but his female companion was already dead, and I was the first responder on that scene, me being from the community, and I tell you, people that I won't say really grew up with, but who knows me well, who I respected and respected me, turned into a vicious mob, trying to get past me into that house. And it was a fight, and I had to stand my ground because I knew then, though I didn't know as much as I know now, that the importance of preserving the integrity of that scene was very important for investigations. Yes or no?
It is very. And this is one of the issues that we have to deal with, and it's one of the issues that really affect the end products of investigation. It affects the investigative process.
Excellent. Okay, all right. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to open up the lines, and hopefully we'll hear from you. We're going to open up the lines, call in with your contributions for myself, my guest, or any other topic. And I'm going to ask the sergeant about what I call the CSI effect. And I'll explain what that is. Stay tuned to Police Insight.
Do you feel like you're drowning in debt? Have your sources of income been severely impacted and you have nowhere to turn? The St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative Limited is here to save. With our rescue plan, we can consolidate your debt obligations into one easy-to-manage loan with affordable payment terms, tailored to keep you afloat. Contact us today at 453-2538 in Castries or 454-7802 in Viewfort for further details. The St. Lucia Teachers Credit Cooperative Limited, an educated choice.
You know that feeling when you have an uncontrollable desire for fried chicken? That's the KFC. A substance that stimulates your senses to identify the aroma of a secret recipe or an extra crispy crunch from any distance. It's invisible to the naked eye, but you can feel it traveling throughout your body, taking control. Oh, so you can enjoy a juicy bite of KFC. Ignite your senses with KFC.
My mommy protected me and my little nephew when she got vaccinated.
My doctor is protecting me. She's vaccinated.
My aunt protected me when she got vaccinated.
COVID-19 vaccines are available for people from the age of 12 years and older. Being vaccinated against the virus does not only protect you, it also makes our country safer for those who cannot receive the vaccine.
Vaccinate for you, for yours, for us.
Ho, ho, ho! 'Tis the season of specials at Massey Stores Home with discounted items throughout the store. Get Black Friday pricing on select home appliances, furniture, TVs, electronics, tools, and more. Or bonus points and Massey Stores vouchers. That's not all. Get a chance at your share of 300,000 Massey Stores loyalty points. Check out our website and follow us on social media to see what's on special. Specials end Sunday, December 5th, 2021.
Paint it love, uplift your spirit. Call us to change your world.
Create that special Christmas feel this holiday with up to 25% off select Harris paints and primers. Every $100 you spend, get a chance for the grand prize of a grocery hamper valued at $1,000. Plus weekly chances to win a ham or a turkey. So shop now and get all the Christmas feels this year with Harris Paints. Promotion ends December 31st.
Call us to change your world. Christmas with Harris.
Gonna be rich. The Super 6 jackpot is now $500,000. Yes, you heard right. Gonna be rich. $500,000 could be yours. What are you waiting for? Get your tickets now. You're gonna be rich.
Welcome back to Police Insight. Your host here, of course, Inspector Zachary Hippolyte. In studio with me is Sgt Irvin Mesmain of the Scenes of Crime. This time I got it right. Scenes of Crime of the North, the officer in charge of that unit. I'd like to say good night to ASP Roberts, who's tuned in. Those of you in the chat, we also have Misty Jeremy and also Kensley Joseph. We're going to open up the lines now whilst we continue the interview with the sergeant. We're going to open up the lines, so if in case you have any contributions or questions, you could just call the show at 456-0306. But we have a birthday shout out. It came in late, so let's just put that photo up on the screen. Let me say happy birthday to Kuma Joseph. Kuma, my daughter. Yes, some people go say, that's your daughter, you lie. Yeah, that's my daughter. You cannot tell me who's my daughter. That's my daughter there. So Kuma Joseph of Bogies, who's celebrating her birthday tomorrow. I love you, my girl. Enjoy your birthday. I'll maybe pass by for some cake or whatever you got there, all right? So Kuma Joseph of Bogies, once again, happy birthday from all of us here at Choice TV and Police Insight. Okay, we have our first call on the line. Let's take that call. Good night, caller.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
Inspector Hippolyte.
Hey, what's up?
Sergeant Mesmain, I want to commend you, gentlemen, on a fantastic show tonight. I think it is very enlightening to many of us. I want to encourage Sergeant Mesmain to continue in this vein. I've known this gentleman for an extremely long time.
Thank
Very
you, caller.
astute individual. I mean, I admire the level of professionalism he attaches to his work, and I just want to wish him all the best. And I know if he continues in the same vein, I know he will certainly get very far and take this role of, being in charge of this division very seriously. So well done, gentlemen. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you so much. I appreciate what you just said. Thank you so much. Excellent. And this is what we like about the show, where our police officers could, because sometimes we need to hear those words.
Of course.
Sergeant.
It goes a long way.
It goes,
yeah.
It goes a long way. Yeah. So, Sergeant, there is also, you could watch me, you could hook me up on the WhatsApp texting platform. That is 7200401. I repeat, 7200401. Or make your contributions in the Facebook chat. We have another call on the line. Let's take that call. Good night, caller.
Yeah, good night. How are you, Mr. Hippolyte?
I'm fine, sir. I'm holding on. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Listen, I got a question for you.
Okay.
If I threaten to kill somebody with murder and then try to extort them with money, what would you do with me?
If you try to do that?
Yeah. What would you do with me?
Oh, that's an offense. Once you try to kill somebody or threaten somebody, once that person makes a report to the police, we investigate it, and once the evidence is there to prefer a charge, we will take that and do what we have to do.
There's an audio circulating all over the social platform that Miguel Ferrier threatened to kill somebody and extort money from him. Why hasn't he arrested yet?
Well, maybe the person that he's referring to has not made a report, caller.
That is not true. I spoke to the guy this morning. The guy told me that he's afraid to leave his house. A gentleman called Dick Green. I spoke to him this morning.
Okay, he's afraid to leave.
And he's afraid to leave his house. Then make the report on his behalf, caller.
So why don't CID go and look for him?
No, but like I said, if you said he hasn't made a report, why don't you make the report on his behalf? Go to CID tomorrow and start the ball rolling.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Is the police department political?
The police has to operate in an impartial manner, sir, an equality.
Sergeant,
that's what the police have to do.
A man threatened to kill a man. How about if the man drop dead tomorrow? You go wait until the man drop dead for you to arrest him?
Caller, let me ask, I'd like you to take my advice.
Inspector.
That's okay, that's all right. And you want to say something?
No, we're just about to ask, who's the victim? Who's the person making the report?
Yeah, but if
a guy named the Green, a guy named the Green is the one that circulated. You want me to play the tape for you now?
No, that's okay, caller. I'm just advising you, if he's afraid, like you said, to make the report, why don't you make the report on his behalf, and then we take it from
there. Okay, so you want me to give you his phone number so y'all could call him?
Yeah, no problem. Send it to me on WhatsApp, 7200401.
Okay, hold on. Let me write that down. Hold on.
Yeah.
724.
No, 72 00 401.
Mr. Hippolyte, you're doing a good job, but all I'm saying is
Thank you.
Y'all would have done arrest me if I do something like that.
Don't
Y'all would have
don't,
done
don't
arrest
say
me,
that, caller. Don't
on that
say
issue.
that. Don't say that, caller. The police.
Well, you're giving the guy a break. The guy's still working at the Ministry of Infrastructure. How could you tell me that a man could threaten a citizen and he's not arrested yet?
Caller, I am entertaining you. Listen to me. The police is not
entertaining,
the,
Mr. Hippolyte.
the police is not the one who hires people at ministries, sir. So you cannot blame the police there. But like you said, send me the
crime
number.
was committed, sir.
Caller, send me the number and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, but it's circulating all over social media. I'll send you the voice notes.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, good.
Take care. The police, you see, this happens. We are accustomed, Sgt Mesmain. Whenever there is a change of power in the island, you will always find the probably members of or those who sympathize with the opposition at the time always believe that the police is in bed with the government of the day. It doesn't bother me. It has no form of impact on me. I'm accustomed to it. I've been in the organizations for 26 years, and those allegations will continue to be held. The bottom line is this: if someone is affected, if someone believes a particular crime has been committed against them, the police needs a report. The police needs a statement. The police cannot just go and arrest people on your fancy, on your whim. Right, Sergeant?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the person, whoever has been offended, they don't have to leave the home. If they're afraid of leaving the home,
You
they
make
can
a
simply
call.
place a call. Simply place a call.
I deliberately tell him to go and make a call. And if you care so much, you might as well do that. But you simply make a call, because if the person, like he claims, is afraid to leave his home, how would he know that? I'm sure he probably placed a call to him.
I'll try to stay away from.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of the status of this case,
Yeah.
whether any report has been made, whether the
Yeah.
police, what they're doing. So
Yeah.
we don't have the details about it.
Yeah. So let's move on. Sergeant, explain to us something called the low cards principle of exchange. Guys, to me, that sounds like something that belongs in, how do you call that, the monies exchange and stuff like that. The stock market. What is the low cards principle of exchange?
Okay. This principle of exchange is a fundamental principle of forensic science, which was formulated by a French criminologist named Edmond Locard, which states that every contact leaves a trace.
Every contact.
What is fact saying? When two surfaces come together, there's contact between the two. Material is transferred from one surface onto the other, and vice versa.
Okay.
So if A comes into contact with B,
there must be.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Okay.
But I mean, there are certain things that will dispute that. I mean, in terms of how strong the contact is and how long. Okay. So when we ask persons not to converge on crime scenes, this is what we take into consideration. Okay? We take all of this into consideration, the locus principle of exchange and whatnot.
Okay.
And I need to say that those foreign material, the exchange, this is what we as crime scene officers are interested in. That's what we look for on crime scenes. And that's what would make up a case, probably help us solve the case.
Okay, let's take that call. We got a call in the line. Good night, caller.
Good night, Inspector Hippolyte.
How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
Talk to me, my brother.
Right. Listen, one of your callers just spoke, and one of the things I know as a former police officer, if somebody has made threats against another person, and the person who is the victim of the threats, that person, as long as the person is not a juvenile, another person cannot make a report on the behalf of this individual, right? That person has a phone, because your caller said he can give you the person's number so the police can call the individual whose life is threatened and who cannot leave his home. Okay, granted he cannot leave his home, but
for whatever reason, I don't know.
For whatever reason. Therefore, he can I'm assuming that he has a phone.
He can make a call.
And he can make a call. So the person is ludicrous based on what they are trying to indicate. And when I look at what he's writing on thing, he's blaming the police.
Yeah.
But he can't blame the police for. Who is to say that the police are aware of such a video thing is going around? So
there you go.
Some people need, and if you look at the route he's going, it's being political.
Yes, that's what it is.
It's being political. This is a police show, and this should not be a political show.
Thank you so
off
much.
The bat. Now, for your guests, Mr. Mesmain, let me say congratulations. Believe you me, I'm impressed with you.
Thank you, sir.
You may know who is speaking. Zachary will tell you at some point.
Yes. Can I identify you? Because
sure.
That's former police officer Mr. Jean-Louis.
Oh, okay,
yes,
okay. Good night, sir. Good night.
Jean-Louis.
Yes.
Yes.
The concern I have, based on the topic you guys are discussing, is the fact that I think within the police, enough is not being, or persons have forgotten, but enough is not being done when it comes to preserving crime scenes. For far too long, I have seen videos and even news clippings where, whether it's a traffic collision or some form of violent scene, and I see police officers, including civilians, within the perimeter of the crime scene. And many a times, I know of recent times you guys have been using crime scene tapes, but there have on occasions where I'm seeing police officers within, or even fire service persons within a crime scene, and they walk in within the crime scene, and I think this, to me, is contaminating your crime scene. So I think a lot of training, both within the police, first the wider police, and also members of the public, to educate them when it comes to a crime scene. Because the more people who populate a crime scene, is the more damage you're doing to your crime scene. Okay? That's my contribution. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for your contribution, Mr. Jean-Louis. Thank you so much. Let me just check on the texting platform. And I know there are some reactions to the individual who called earlier. People, this is a police show. And yes, definitely it's not a political show. Also, it's a show that promotes community policing. Now, if an individual calls with his political agenda, even if I recognize that's what it is, I cannot be rude. I cannot be too hasty to just cut off the individual. I have to engage him, and hopefully probably through some form of engagement to try and change his mindset. Or should I say, I need to be diplomatic, because this is a police show and we serve the community. In the community, we have people with different beliefs, different thinkings, political agendas, whatever the case may be. So me entertaining him to a particular point was being diplomatic. Okay? He was not disrespectful. He didn't use any form of obscene language, whatever the case may be. So that is also a tactic that is used. But this is definitely not a political show. It never shall be, and it never will. Okay? With the police, we serve everyone in the country. There are some officers who give people the perception that they put politics before country. But myself, Sgt Mesmain, and all those who are genuine don't do that. I'd like to say good night to Corporal Jean. Corporal Jean, good night to you, Corporal. He's currently on vacation. I hope you're enjoying yourself, Corporal.
Former crime scene officer.
Yes, Corporal Jean was a crime scene officer?
Yes, he was. 541 Jean?
Yes.
Yes, he was.
Interesting. And my goodness, I never knew him to be a crime scene officer.
Yes, he was.
Interesting. So
When
good
we
night.
established he was among it.
So good night to you, Corporal Shah. I know you're enjoying your vacation. You're always watching the show. Thank you for supporting my colleague. We have another call on the line. Good night, caller.
Hi, good evening, Inspector, and good evening to your guest. I was actually calling you tonight about the cruelty towards the dog, so I'm happy that you brought it up.
Thank you.
I am aware that this is a criminal offense in St. Lucia, and I believe that this dog must be removed from her care and taken to an animal shelter.
I believe that too.
Because she's unfit to own a dog. So finally, my question is, since this is a criminal offense for animal cruelty, why hasn't she been arrested and charged? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. When it comes to the Animal Act, which I definitely will do a show on that, okay? I don't want to preempt the actions, how it could be in terms of the procedures that are used to investigate such reports. If it is something that the police could just simply move in on their own, would they need a particular report in terms of getting the animal? I don't profess to know everything, but I think she raised a very good question, Sergeant.
Yeah, yes.
And I will go through the Animal Act. I'll also seek guidance when it comes to such matters. You see, what happens, Sergeant, is that people are expecting that the police to react to videos and voice notes and stuff like that. But when it comes to the presentation of evidence, it's much more than that. Am I correct?
Yes, you are very correct. You see, with the video, well, in criminal investigation, you have to get the person's intent. How do you prove that the lady intended to cause any harm to the, it's just, what if it was just a play with the dog? Like I said, just for kicks. I do not know. So I don't think it's fit for us to just stay and assume that she intended to, you understand, to make assumptions. Yeah.
Although the imagery was not
it
nice
was not pleasing,
all.
yeah, I understand.
Pleasing.
Yeah,
but I want people to understand that this is not the way investigations happen, that through a voice note or through imagery that the police can just move in and just do what people are expecting. Everyone is expecting an arrest immediately. There must be investigation. It takes time, people. And as we continue, especially if one of the questions I have to ask the sergeant, you will see how things in the real world actually take time. But are we done with the lookout's principle? Let me just check.
Yes.
Okay, so let me just see if I could get some messages. I think we're going to take another break, but 1 second. Someone is asking if you could explain if a young female student, I'm not going to continue to read that. Viewers, remember, not everything that is presented is sometimes what it seems. All right, so some people, because of the story of the fetus being found at a particular school, is already assuming it's a student. How could we make the assumption it's a student? Is the student are students the only individuals who have access to a school? No, we have many different individuals, citizens that have access to a school. A school has students, it has teachers, principals, it has auxiliary staff, it has caretakers. Am I correct, Sergeant?
Yes, you are very correct, Inspector.
So we need to understand that we must not make assumptions, but that's human being. That's being human. So, to answer what you're saying, I'm going to rephrase what you asked, viewer. Can someone, if found guilty of concealment of birth, in terms of what the criminal code is asking for, in terms of what Sergeant Mesmain and his team has gathered the evidence to prove that a crime has actually occurred, if that person can take jail time, yes. According to the criminal code, it is 5 years. Okay? Okay, so, all right. So we're going to take a short break. Let's take a short break. And when we come back, I want to ask the sergeant about the CSI effect. Maito, stay tuned.
The St. Lucia National Housing Corporation invites tenants, residential and commercial, to participate in the Castries Housing Estate and Darling Road Housing Estate, affectionately known as the CDC Rent Reprieve, a Government of St. Lucia initiative to bring relief to the people. Conditions for the reprieve. All tenants must pay October and November 2021 rent. No rent is payable in December 2021. Outstanding debt will be forgiven. New leases will be drawn up in January 2022. October and November 2021 rent must be paid at the NHC headquarters in the Morgan Building, Morris Mason Avenue and Lance Road, Sanssouci, no later than October 30th, 2021. Be sure to keep the stamped copy of your receipt. For further information, call the NHC at 452-3801 or email nhc@candw.lc.
As variants of COVID-19 continue to evolve, Lewis Industries Limited remains resolute in offering the best cleaning solutions recommended by EPA to reduce the spread of the virus. Our disinfectants, EnviroCare and Conquer Byram, which are highly recommended to sanitize, disinfect, and deep clean surroundings, will ensure you operate in a safe and healthy environment. With over 3 decades of experience in cleaning and consultancy services, we guarantee you trusted products and quality service. Call us at 450-4060. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or our website at www.lewisindustrieslimited.com.
Make Paints Plus your one-stop paint shop this holiday season. With unbelievable everyday low prices store-wide, we will not be undersold. So for all your decorative and automotive paints and accessories, make the smart choice and check Paints Plus first. Quality products and service at the best prices, plus best value for your money equals best savings in your pocket. Spend $200 and get a chance to win daily prizes, huge discounts, hams, turkeys, food hampers, liquor hampers, wines, and weekly cash prizes of $500 in our popular Paints Plus Pop the Balloon Christmas promotion. Happy holidays from your team at Paints Plus.
Paints Plus, one name that leads. Paints Plus, for all your painting needs.
Welcome back to Police Insight. Your host here, Acting Inspector Zachary Hippolyte, and in studio with me is the Sergeant in charge of the Scenes of Crime Office in the Northern Division. Let me take in some reactions. The lines are open. They're still open. You could call in for any contributions or questions for myself or my guest, 456-0306. Let me check out the Facebook platform for any reactions. Someone here says, Sergeant Mesmain wouldn't like cruelty being done to animals, especially dogs, and that's so true. Someone said the dog didn't even know what it did. Someone here is saying, let's see, the dog, my beloved RSLPF, is the list of my worries. There are some heinous crimes still unsolved. What are we doing to get to the heart of such? Okay. All right. So far, so good. Let me check out the WhatsApp texting platform before I continue the conversation. Someone here says, good evening to you. Happy to hear the positive things said about the police. What I wish your office would do is to deal professionally, I guess the person wants to say your officers, would do is deal professionally with members who are not professional. I will give you my situation. I have called 911 to report a matter, and the attitude of the female officer left a lot to be desired. Well, that should be 999, but it's okay. I understand what you're saying. It was not a personal matter. I witnessed a situation going on and I called. I was so disappointed at the attitude of the female officer. I don't feel comfortable to ever call again. In case you are wondering, I did ask and the officer confirmed I had reached the police. Okay, if you call the police, whether it's through 999 or any station, and you are not happy with the treatment you've received on the phone, one of the first things, the police officer who's answering, should identify themselves.
Of course.
However, civilians, if in case the police officer who's answering did not identify themselves, I would advise you that before going on, proceeding with the conversation, you ask the officer who has answered to identify themselves. Who am I speaking to? Okay, and it's important that you know who you're speaking to. So, viewer, I would have then advised you that if you're not happy with the situation, you could speak to a supervisor, you could speak to a senior police officer concerning the conduct or the way in which you said that the police officer is not being professional. Me saying that we are human when it comes to customer service, in my opinion, is a bit of an excuse. We are trained that we must find it within ourselves at all times, Sergeant, our best to try and pass on any frustrations to the public. The public calls the stations, calls those phones for service, calls to give information, calls to make complaints, calls to make queries. And if you or we, I like to say we, if we are going to answer in such a manner, it doesn't do well for the reputation and for the police force. Am I correct?
You're very correct. Doesn't do well at all.
And yes, and we understand and we know very well that one of our single action, one of us alone, can bring the entire organization into disrepute.
Yes, I mean, it's a lot. It has a lot to do with customer service, the training that we receive, and the way we want to portray ourselves.
Yes.
I mean, if persons are going probably for a rough time, maybe you'll leave your home,
Yes.
you're running late or something. I mean, when you get to work, you relax. Talk to your supervisor.
Thank you. Speak to your supervisor.
And
Boss,
then
I'm not having a good day at all.
You understand?
I don't think I can take on the phone.
And then they could probably, depending on where you're working, they will not delegate you to answer telephones.
Answer the
They could,
telephone.
get something else for you to do.
Yes, or they would say, okay, take a break, take an hour, or come and speak to me. What's going on?
Because at the various stations, there's someone assigned as a diarist
That's
and whatnot.
right.
So if you realize this person probably, have some issues and whatnot,
Yes.
as a supervisor,
Yes.
you could look into these things.
So, viewer, I know you're still online. I apologize for that on behalf of that colleague, whoever it is, for that experience. I don't think that experience should discourage you from calling the police, although I know how it feels. And that's one of the problems with our organization. When one falters, we are painted with the same brush, all of us. But don't be discouraged, caller. You could still call the police. 999 is there, and also 911 for emergency services. It's a service that's rendered to you as a citizen. It's a right for you to call, and don't allow that situation to discourage you from calling and giving the service that you need. Someone is asking a question here, and Sergeant, I am going to put it to you. Although I know for sure you did not really want to go there, but we have to answer it, Sergeant. We have to answer. Someone wants to know, does the crime scene investigation officers get counseling, and are they debriefed regularly?
Inspector Hippolyte, you're putting me in a tight spot there right now. Okay, counseling is available to police officers.
Yes.
Within the public service. It's available. However, I cannot recall the last time that we got anything. Because police officers on the whole believe they're macho and they can, proceed.
Yeah, as men already. Yeah.
So counseling is available.
Especially through the police welfare officers. If you have an issue or you want to speak to somebody, you could reach out to your police welfare and they could make the arrangements for you. crime scene investigators go through a lot of stress, and that is something that they definitely need. The viewer also asked, how has COVID affected the operations of your office?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Because, at the unit, we deal with a lot of sudden deaths, homicides, and whatnot. And we do not have a choice. We have to attend to it. And we have to be extra careful. So it has affected us tremendously.
I can imagine.
On resources, persons falling sick, and we don't even know where they contract COVID. We've had a few victims of COVID at the office, so we don't even know. Maybe it could be from a crime scene and whatnot. So it has affected us.
I can imagine. Yeah. All right. And speak to burnout. Viewer, burnout. I don't know. I believe that I have passed the level of burnout to the point where I love my job. I don't concentrate on it. I know there are a lot of our officers that are going through that thing they call burnout, being overworked. But you know what I like about the majority of our police officers? They always find a way to go the extra mile.
Of course.
And someone might say, Inspector, you're a police officer, so you're saying that you're trying to make the organization look good. But you see, the positive never gets publicized. When a police officer goes above and beyond and solves a matter for an individual, or goes above and beyond the call of duty to give a citizen excellent customer service, you don't find the recipients of such goodwill and going on the news and say, hey, guess what? My goodness, the police found my lost television. Or the police, this Officer Mesmain was so instrumental in calming down the situation at my home. That does not happen. But if something goes wrong,
that's the thing.
Then people take to social media and they take to the voice notes and everything, and then they say what it is. So that's just how it is, viewer. We try our best to do what we can with the resources that we have. Let me just see once again. Oh yeah, so I did the trainers to the against. Let me just allow the corporal to read that.
Which one? That's
what
from
Corporal, yes.
Yes, I did the trainers to against.
Yes. Yeah, so big up to Corporal Sherman. I have no idea that the corporal was so versed in terms of crime scene. Sergeant, the CSI effect. Finally, let's get to this question. And people, here's what I call the CSI effect. I don't know if it's an actual term. But there is this perception due to watching crime shows. That I love my favorite crime show on television is Special Victims Unit, Law and Order. And in those crime shows, Sergeant, because it's usually an hour.
An hour.
It is portrayed that those officers that work with the crime scenes get all the evidence, everything is perfect, and in less than 45 minutes they're able to get a perpetrator and solve the crime.
And even conviction.
And conviction. This has caused, in my opinion, Sergeant, something called the CSI effect. And therefore, our citizens are expecting the same from the police in the real world. Can you speak to that?
Okay, Inspector. The term is real. It do exist.
Okay.
Yeah, the term is there. It's also known as CSI syndrome, CSI infection, and whatnot.
Okay.
So it does exist. Say, for instance, like you mentioned, the show is an hour's.
Yeah, it's like an hour long.
Yeah, so 45 minutes, you understand? You understand?
Yes.
Let's imagine you responding to a report from here to Canaries. How long is it going to take you to drive to Canaries?
Oh, my goodness. And with the traffic again.
You understand?
Yeah.
You get there, you process a scene. How long is it going to take you to process a scene?
And early on you said sometimes scenes sometimes takes weeks.
So these shows, yes, we do appreciate them. It has its worth and whatnot. It's there for a reason. To educate persons and whatnot. We do appreciate that. I wish our investigation was like that. We could just solve a case within an hour. Trust me.
Yes.
That was good.
But that's not the case.
In reality, it's not.
And I also want to add, viewers, that even in the great United States, where those shows emanate from, don't think that it's happening like that for real. It's not the case. As a matter of fact, for those of you who are savvy and do your own research, there are so many times, there's so many crime documentaries from those bigger jurisdictions where there are cold cases.
Exactly. I was just about to come to that. Cold case files.
Cold case files.
You understand?
In the US.
And these people, they have more sophisticated equipment, they have the resources, the human resource, they have all of this, and yet still cases go unsolved.
Cases go unsolved. There you go. So it's something that we need to, we try our best to let citizens know that's not the case, but you know how it is. Sergeant, now that we mentioned the word equipment, can you speak to some of the equipment used by your office in gathering evidence? Some people believe we don't have fingerprinting, they believe we don't have. Can you speak to those?
Okay, well, there's a difference between equipment and other little resources that you use. You understand? So in terms of equipment, someone can say a camera, you know, metal detectors and stuff like that. We have all these available to us. We also have the fingerprint powders and whatnot to you know, bags, different bags, boxes to package our exhibits. We have a lot of things available to us, gloves, body suits, and all the, you could name it.
How difficult it is to process a scene in bad weather? It seems it's difficult.
It is very difficult. You see, the thing about it, when you say bad weather, I think you're raining. Exactly. So the rain alone is already destroying this, depending on where the scene is, right? That rain is destroying evidence, contaminating your scene. So you see the challenge it poses? Yeah.
I see. Corporal just says, I was instrumental in getting members of that department to take their hepatitis B shots. Hepatitis B is very active in dried blood, which many people have the tendency to be less cautious with than fluid blood. Is that the case? Oh, interesting. Yeah. So we learned something here from the sergeant. Let me see if I could get some other reactions here. Someone says here, great show, officers. Night to all. We're actually winding down. We're almost there at the time. All first responders need a level of counseling on a regular basis. Let me see in the... someone asked you, Sergeant, how do you feel knowing there are so many cold cases? Well, the person says so many cold cases. I don't know what they mean by that. But let me rephrase that for you. How do you feel, Sergeant, when you see you've spent a good amount of time on a scene and still you are not yet able to get you what you really need to either lead to the identification of a suspect or something like that? How does it make you feel?
Inspector, I'll tell you, when you look at the components of a crime, there's the victim, there's a location, and you need a perpetrator. What we've been taught, they taught us, if everything is known about the victim, because most times you must have the victim. If everything is known about this victim, everything is known about the location, you're bound to find the perpetrator. Believe it or not.
I see.
Okay. Now, the problem that we have is contamination, persons gathering on scene, and that's what we've been trying to educate persons, the reason why they should stay away from scenes. We have a problem with media personnel.
Even media personnel,
of course.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because these are the stories that sell.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
They get viewership through those stories. Unless you don't have police news in your news, persons don't really watch. You understand? Anytime you report on crime, persons are interested. So these are the problems that we deal with on a daily basis. So persons gathering on scene is going to tamper with your evidence on the scene. So the location has been compromised. Sometimes the victim, all of that. So it will be more difficult now, unless you have an eyewitness who would say, well, they saw Inspector Hippolyte did this or that.
Excellent. Someone is saying here, Inspector, that is wrong. And I don't really think I'm still reading even those messages that criticize me. That's what it's about, being factual. Inspector, that is wrong when you speak about burnout. When one is burnout, and if he or she don't get the necessary help, it may affect him at work and also at home. I believe the force should have what is called a CISM team, Critical Incident Stress Management. This is a peer support team who assists their peers deal with their problems. They are not counselors. And you are so correct. And I apologize if I try to make big burnout sound like something that is so trivial. Maybe I was more speaking about myself, but you are so correct, viewer. Burnout is a serious problem, and it could affect a department, it could affect an individual tremendously, especially you know that we usually talk about the manpower shortages and stuff like that. So I'd like to thank you, viewer, for making sure that when it came to burnout, I didn't leave it as so trivial just because maybe I have a way of dealing with it. We're almost done. Let me see if I could take in at least one more contribution, and then I'm going to tell the sergeant to wrap up. Here's a question, Sergeant. Good night, officers. If a crime takes place on a beach and the waves wash up to the scene, does it take away evidence? Can the waves take away evidence?
It all depends on what's there. Of course, it will. It will.
Okay, excellent. Let's see. I think that is it for now. All right. So, Sergeant, that is it for now. Final words to the public. The camera is right yours. Take it away.
Okay. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity tonight, Inspector. Tonight, I would like to take this opportunity to urge members of the public, including media personnel, to probably, work and cooperate with the police on crime scenes. Okay? This is not a war between the public and the police, or media personnel and the police. We put you out for a particular reason. See, most times, the evidence that we look for the crime scene are sometimes in small amounts, what we call trace evidence. These evidence might be invisible to the naked eye. Okay? So allowing persons to gather on crime scene will just contaminate it, wash it out, step on things, destroy evidence. Okay? And that's my message to them.
Urging them to stop.
To stay away and cooperate with the police.
Cooperate with the police.
The police are not the enemy, so we are here to assist and help solve crime.
Thank you so much, Sergeant, for being a guest on Police Insight. I know definitely it's not the last time we will see you.
Yeah, no problem. It's for anytime.
Yeah, my brother. Okay, so this has been another episode of Police Insight. I'd like to thank all those who called, who contributed in the Facebook chat, WhatsApp texting platform, especially my colleague officers who call in and support the show. You, the public, you're amazing. I'd like to thank you for the support. Without you, we cannot continue to make St. Lucia a better and safer place for all persons in St. Lucia. Next Tuesday, until then, stay safe. Good night.
Celebrate the season with a Christmas loan from the Royal St. Lucia Police and Allies.